Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Watch News Weekly. Today is Sunday, July 23rd. I'm joined by Marco Ferrante, a young kid whiz, as we like to call him. A few hot topics for you. It is summertime, so news are a bit slow, but nevertheless, there are some important things that took place over the last week that we do want to discuss. And the first topic being Omega price increases. Everybody's panicking about the Omega price increases. This is the second price increase within a year for Omega, and they're increasing it 4 to 6%. And on top of that, what they're doing is they're decreasing margins to the retailers. Are they trying to be the next Rolex? What are they trying to do? First off, I'll tell you one thing. They're not the first or the last company that has increased their prices within a year multiple times. By multiple, I mean more than twice. I know companies that increase retails multitude of times throughout 1 year due to currency fluctuations, due to many other things, popularity, you name it, cost of goods, you name it, prices have been increased. So I don't know why everybody's panicking about it, especially considering that Omega is really a very well price point brand.
Yeah, they're a good price point brand, but I think this is an issue that's not just central to Omega. I think it's more of a widespread issue in the watch industry overall, right? It's not really only Omega doing it on their lonesome, right? A lot of brands that you're seeing nowadays are increasing their prices in huge shifts. Patek has been doing double price increases. AP has been doing huge price increases. How about the price of Rolex? A Rolex Submariner today, like a no-date sub, if you wanted to flip it or on the market today, you're basically getting retail for it, which is, this is a way listed piece just because of the new price increases that they're doing every single year, which is, it's affecting the retail consumer because now, it's
affecting the flipper.
But it's at the same time, the prices of these watches are going up at such a quick rate that it's almost hard to see value in the retail space anymore.
Unless you consider the fact that a lot of the pieces out there, since you mentioned Rolex, are out there trading over list. Maybe it's finally the time where, look, the price dip that we had a year ago or less than a year ago has already affected the secondary. Mostly affected the flippers, i.e. the privates that got into the space for the sole purpose of buying a watch based on their relationship and flipping it to a guy like us.
We're talking like about a brand like Omega, right? And if you're going to keep increasing prices, the idea is, I would inherently believe, to ultimately become a more luxurious brand, right? Or be seen as a more luxurious brand. The first thing being price. But that can also backfire huge because at the end of the day, what happens if the market deems, your watches are now too expensive and people don't want to buy it anymore?
Yes, I'll finish it up with this. Omega was the third best seller last year. I think the second best seller the year before. They're still very, very much underpriced in comparison to other brands. So I personally think it's warranted. And do I think they're trying to become the next Rolex? Why wouldn't they want to do that? Yeah, it is what it is. Let's move on to the next topic, and that is Cristiano Ronaldo invests into Chrono24. They had another round of money raising. I think he invested 100 million euros. And everybody's saying, how is that going to affect Chrono24? It's not going to affect Chrono24. It's not the first time a company goes out there and gets an A-list celebrity to endorse them or to become an investor. Watchbox had Michael Jordan invested in a company. Yeah. Did their sales magically go through the roof because Michael Jordan all of a sudden joined? No, it just shows Cristiano Ronaldo's passion for watches. He always was a fan of Chrono24, at least that's what the public statement says. And look, at the end of the day, they need money because we know that Chrono24 wasn't really doing all that well. And by them raising funds, they need those funds to spend those funds, whether it's on marketing, whether it's on whatever other initiatives they have going on internally. Yeah. Because from what I heard is Chrono24 was really struggling. And the reason for that struggle, in my opinion, was always consumer confidence was shook. There's no curated process behind it. There's nothing on that platform that makes a consumer feel confident. Most consumers, as of late, use Chrono24 as a reference. And as dealers do, subtracting 20 to 30% off the price.
The thing about Chrono24 is it's the biggest consignment platform in the entire watch space.
But it's not.
But I think
it's a platform. It's a listing platform, much like eBay.
Exactly. So it's a consignment platform where the user doesn't actually have to physically submit in a watch.
Exactly.
Right? That's the idea behind it, and that can shake consumer confidence because at the end of the day, you can put all these safe holds in place, but who knows what you're getting? There's a lot of these fake listings on Chrono24. Also, the pricing doesn't naturally reflect the market all the time, and not to mention Chrono24 expanded huge. Right? They became listen, at the end of the day, whenever you're a database company or you have kind of a software-based company, it's going to require a lot of storage space, a lot of overhead to a certain degree, especially that now Chrono24 wants to invest in more kind of singular spaces, collectors lounges, that kind of stuff. That requires money. I mean, listen, Cristiano Ronaldo has been a watch collector. We've seen kind of those, what's his name, Watch Eric, reviewing his watch collections back in the day. He's always had those iced out gem set pieces, and he's been a watch collector a long time. It doesn't surprise me he gets into watches.
I am going to tell you this. The buzz around Cristiano Ronaldo is great. It's great publicity. It's great attention to Chrono24 for those that may not be familiar with it. And watch space altogether, really. Yeah. But in reality, again, Chrono24 has a lot of issues they need to deal with. Yeah. You mentioned it already. Multitude of listings of the same exact thing for different prices, fake listings, fraudulent listings, and things. Especially the listings that, oh my God, I can source this watch for you now. Listings. Come on. They have bigger problems to fry. I think Cristiano Ronaldo is certainly not going to fix them, but certainly is a good move to bring on an A-list.
Not to mention that Saudi deal is paying off big time for it.
There you go. Let's move on to the next topic, and that's going to be the new 34mm Audemars Piguet Royal Oak in white ceramic. It was only a matter of time, and I was waiting for a new white ceramic watch. Yeah. We saw the white ceramic perpetual. Well, prior to that, we saw other white ceramic watches are partially white ceramic, right? Yeah. Some of the offshores that were made in white ceramic. Prior to CM was the first one actually where they used the concept. It's the third concept in line, the white ceramic concept, and so on. Finally, they come out with a Royal Oak Perpetual. Everybody loves the watch. It's still trading through the roof over list. They come out with a new ceramic, and my thought on this is, give me another cheaper 39 through 41 millimeter Royal Oak before you come out there with the 34 millimeter. 34 millimeter is obviously a ladies' watch. Yes, it may be somewhat unisex. There may be guys out there with smaller wrists that will wear that watch. The watch is a knockout. I love the way the watch looks. The gold markers against the white ceramic, it works. One big chunk of white ceramic. In fact, I like the dial on this one much better than that of a perpetual. One of the pet peeves I have on a perpetual is like, just give me a white dial. Give me a white ceramic dial, right? I did that here.
It's pretty surprising to me because you almost never see a legacy brand, especially one like AP, test the market with a watch, although, let's be honest, anything in white ceramic from AP is going to be a knockout. But at the end of the day, they're still testing a new product on the market, and they're coming out with it in a ladies' size, right? You almost never see that. Usually they always come out in a men's size. So that's exactly
what I said.
It shows kind of a shift in maybe AP's potential direction, but at the end of the day, the watch is a knockout release. I'm sure it's going to be followed up with some men's versions. This is usually the way that it goes, but obviously them coming out with the ladies model first is pretty surprising.
One thing I would say is, so I love the gold markers, I love the gold screws around the bezel. Yeah. Virgil Abloh, may he rest in peace, he did a custom ceramic perpetual for himself where everything was whited out, the screws, the dial, and everything else. I want to see that from AP. Yeah, it's a nice subtle touch, nice. It's very nice, the gold markers, the gold hands with the gold matching screws. I love it, don't get me wrong. I like the way it is. I do want to see sort of a whited out or phantom, right, type of ceramic watch. And again, I am very much surprised that, again, they skipped like a plain men's world. Give it to me in 39 millimeters or 38 millimeters. Last but not least, retail price $53,000. Thoughts on a secondary one that things pops off?
I mean, this is going to be at least double list, and no doubt about it, because at the end of the day, this is going to be hugely popular in Asia. It's going to be hugely popular in Dubai, and there's no question a watch like this is going to be sky high.
So then, since you hit the hot topic button, we have another minute to discuss this. I will tell you this. I'll ask you this. Could this be potentially the competitor to a ceramic 007 from Richard Mille for ladies, especially in the Asian market?
I don't think so, because like AP has such a diverse product base, and it's so Royal Oak centric, versus an RM is so distinct, and there's not that many options in ceramic, white ceramic specifically from RM. I don't think it will take the throne, but I think this will be a hugely
cheaper option if you think about it, because any white ceramic Richard Mille's out there, they're trading at some $200,000 to $300,000. So it's really, really tough. One last thing on this topic, and we'll move on. Next white ceramic watch you would love to see from AP, personally?
So Ed Sheeran has a piece unique Royal Oak Perpetual Calendar, white ceramic with like panda subdials. Man, that is beautiful. I'd love to see some kind of play off that. Maybe like a black with white subdials.
Personally, I'll take a 39 millimeter Royal Oak, plain Jane, white ceramic dial, phantom
bring
dial,
back 39
completely
millimeters.
White. Exactly. The 34 is great, but give me something else. Next topic. Gruebel Forsey, Balancier Convex S2 and double Balancier Convex. Now, I put on the Gruebel Forsey because I knew what we were going to talk about. Now, this was the savior they came out to save them from all the large stuff that they used to make, and it's sort of a dressy watch, a lot more ergonomic, a lot more wearable for somebody with a small wrist. And now they've doubled down on going smaller, because this is 44 by 45 essentially.
Yeah.
They're coming out with something that's going to be 41 by 42. And oddly enough, I'm wearing this, and with the lugless case design, I don't know, without actually trying it on, the difference that the slightly smaller case is going to make. Now, this is them either trying to cater to, well, they're doing two things. They're catering to the Asian market, where the average wrist size is smaller.
Yeah.
And number two, they're catering to make these watches more affordable. Now, we don't know what the plain Convex is going to retail for, because look, the Balanciers today are all hovering around 200 plus. The other stuff is hovering around 500. So I don't know what the plain one will cost. It's supposed to be the cheaper option. Of course, the double Balancier is still going to be expensive in the smaller size.
I think
thoughts?
I think it's a step in the right direction. I like the idea that they're slimming down their case sizes. I agree with you. It's going to be interesting one to see how it wears, just because I think that the proportions, because it's a lugless case, suits most wrists. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I do like the move, but is this Gruebel Forsey trying to target the female market? I mean, again, a 40
it is a possibility.
40 millimeter case
it is
size,
a possibility.
Yeah,
I will ask you one more question. If you're going to go the route of slimming down, going smaller, obviously you can fit the complications and the movements within the smaller case. Why not bring back the dressy line in a smaller case? Because some of the amazing things they have done, like the mystery quadruple tourbillon, right? Like the double tourbillons they have done.
Yeah, like
bring that back in a smaller case.
I don't see them coming out with like invention pieces in smaller cases, because they need physically the real estate to.
You don't think that could be done on a 40 millimeter?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a watch technician, but I'm assuming where there's a will, there's a way. If they try hard enough, they can do it. But yeah, I think this is Gruebel realizing they had a problem and them fixing it.
But look, this was the fix to the problem, and it was a good fix. I got nothing but positive feedback on stuff like this. So now you're taking the same thing, going a couple of millimeters smaller, 2 to 3 millimeters smaller. I don't know if they necessarily needed it. That's why I brought up the dress line.
I like the idea. Go back to your roots and make what made you originally famous.
Let's go to the next topic, and the next topic is going to be another couple of new watches from A.Lange. So A.Lange introduced a new version of a platinum time zone, and they did a new version of a perpetual calendar split second, their datograph split second perpetual. Let's put the two side by side on the screen. And look, I guess the time zone was due for an update, but the differences are very, very, very subtle.
Yeah.
I think the applied numerals are a bit more prominent. I see they moved the 24-hour, the power reserve,
indicator,
the 24-hour indicator. They moved it to the
within
center,
the subdial, yeah.
which is cool. But in reality, I would call this very, very lazy. I would call it lazy. That's literally what I would call it. They got rid of the little subdial, the 24-hour indicator that used to be on the side. They integrated it into the second time zone on the bottom. Lazy.
So we talked about the Lange one being like Lange's best blank canvas, right? And
Indeed.
the Lange one time zone is such a unique and distinct design. It's hard for me to reimagine this, right? Like, what can you realistically do to change the design and stay faithful to the original? That's the idea.
I think the only option that Lange had here, because original or the new one, honestly, I love them both.
Yeah.
The difference is so subtle. Yes, you move some things around. I like the idea of indicators being around the center where the hands are. It's cool. I got it. But maybe use of new materials. They're already experimenting with steel watches, right?
Yeah.
Make a titanium time zone. I don't know if they're going to go as far as going carbon, let's say, or ceramic, right? But give me something. Give me titanium. Give me Zolium. Give me Alacre. Give me
the only other thing
material.
they can do is just change up the materials in dial, which is what we saw kind of.
Give me a dial color. Thank you.
In the second release, right? So if we go to the 1815 Rattrapant, what we saw was.
Let's go to the next watch, which is the 1815 Rattrapant. So again, they added a watch that they already had, and let's put them side by side. They made a watch which they have already made.
Yeah.
Look, don't get me wrong, I love the salmon dial.
Yes,
I mean, salmon dial just screams rarity. It screams, oh my God, oh I want it. It's a beautiful salmon dial. In fact, I think their salmon dial is slightly richer than that of, let's say, Patek Philippe, for example, right? But it's a beautiful salmon dial, and again, on the watch they have already made. So that's a good step forward.
Sure. There's nothing that's changed, right? It's just aesthetically, it's different, right? Same with the Lange one time zone. Again, it goes back to this idea: how much can you realistically change, right? Like a 52.
Well, they perfected these movements. Don't forget.
Yeah, of course. It's like, for example, Patek comes out with a 5270p in green, right? Versus before it was in salmon, right? This is the same idea, I think. Like, there's not much you can't really change drastically. I will say I like the fact that this is now in white gold because the platinum model is extremely top heavy. And it is a big watch. I think it's like 43 millimeters. Like 15,
it is top heavy. You're
it's like 14,
right.
15 millimeters thick. So white gold will make it a little bit less heavy, a lot more wearable. And that salmon dial with the blued hands and the rush.
I think the blue hands popped
just
very well against salmon.
You
and
remember there was a 1815? No, it was not an 1815. It was oh my God, what's the first reference of the perpetual calendar chronograph? It's not a 2499.
That would be a Patek.
1518. It was a 1518 Pincon Pig that was sold, and it kind of reminds me of that, but it has a white gold case.
It does. It does give it that vintage vibe. I will agree. Going forward for longer, you have already perfected your movements. I mean, second to none chronograph in the market. Would you agree? Their perpetual is absolutely amazing. The split is amazing. You did a single split, a double split, a triple split. You did a 31-day power reserve watch. Horologically, you've mastered the industry unless you come out there and invent something that doesn't exist, which is extremely hard to do. So for longer, I think the next best step is start going the material route.
Yeah.
Bring back the precious metal bracelets, number one.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Maybe with a new design.
Imagine this on a bracelet.
Oh my God. Bring those back, number one. Number two, start experimenting with materials. Give me this in titanium. You know, and again, Lange doesn't have a titanium watch. Bring back the Aventurin dial in other complications. Imagine an Aventurin dial on this perpetual. It would be amazing.
Because again, when it comes to the designs, the aesthetics, the movement, I mean, the movement is foolproof. It's impossible to critique. The design is perfect. I actually like this split-second perpetual over even the Patek split-second perpetual because it's far more legible. You look at the sub-dial layout. I think it's much cleaner, very symmetrical, and it's just a beautiful looking watch. So I think actually it's not a bad idea. I'd like to see maybe something like titanium. It's just something that we're not used to. You know what I mean? A legacy classic brand experimenting with materials. But breaking the mold might be the way.
Lange followers, as I said, Lange followers have long been convinced that the quality is there.
Yeah.
The innovation is there. Things that no other companies have are there.
Yeah.
Right? So now I feel like you go into the shock factor. Again, they're owned by the Richemont Group. There's a little bit of, restriction there. But if they're making this their flagship brand, they cut production down from 5,500 pieces a year down to 2,000. They're going the allocation route. Don't give me the same exact watch with a salmon dial and ask me to get in line and wait 3 years for it. I have purchase history. Give me something, okay, I am going to make 150 of these in titanium.
No, I get what you're saying. Make it exciting. That's all.
Make it exciting.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It is exciting. It's a beautiful watch.
Yeah.
The time zone is my favorite Lange one. So, I'm biased. The subtle changes don't do anything for me. But if I'm already somebody that has, and this is the key point here, if I'm already somebody that has a longer time zone, and if I'm already somebody that has the split-second perpetual, the original ones,
are you happy with these new?
Am I going to be like, oh my God, I must have this one now? No, I'm not. No. So do that. Make me say, oh my God, I have to have the new version of this watch.
Yeah. And
that's all I'm going to say about Lange. That's going to wrap up this week's newscast, guys. I appreciate you all tuning in. As always, like, comment, share, subscribe. Marco, thank you for joining me. We'll see you guys next week.